Because fundamentally, how do we know what giraffes really look like? You see, there are two types of people in this world: those who have seen a giraffe in real life and those who have not. And there is something common for both of them. Because when we think of giraffes, it's very easy to have bring certain ideas in our mind about how they look or what kind of animal it is, right? They are this magnificent animal. They have this presence. And I don't know what comes to your mind first, whether it is the long neck or the long legs they have, the elegant way with which they move. Perhaps it is these little antennas they have on their head. In addition to the ears, they have these little like bumps here that make them very characteristic. Or it's the patterns, the colored patterns they have in their bodies, on their bodies. Yeah. So they really stand out as creatures in the world we live in, right? There is something about them. And the other thing about them is that giraffes, for most people, are not a common sight. I mean, if you live in the places of the world where giraffes naturally live, or if you work in a zoo, perhaps you, or you visit frequently a zoo, perhaps you see a giraffe frequently. The truth is, though, that for most people, giraffes are not a common sight. We either have to visit a special place, like a zoo or some other country, and for some people, it's they're not accessible at all, right? So the thing is that most of the time we know about giraffes from many other things we learn in our environment. So for example, before we've seen a giraffe in our life, we had an idea about it, right? From stories we've heard from other people, perhaps documentaries we saw in TV, or children colored books that were teaching us the animals when we were kids. And it was like, this is a giraffe. So when we went to the zoo, if you've been to the zoo, if you haven't, you just have these stories you've heard from other sources, right? But when we've been to the zoo, we saw the animal and we were like, yeah, that's a giraffe. We knew how to recognize it. So there is this element of many things we know from other sources. And even if we've seen something in real life, there is this notion of we expect it to remain the way it is, so we recall it from our memory. We don't actually, see it in the moment, in the present. And in all of the scenarios, what's interesting in all of the scenarios, there is one common element in all the scenarios. And this element is trust. Whether we trust stories from other people, whether we trust our own memory, there is an element of trust or of that allows us to accept that certain things are true. Certain things don't change as fast, right? Because even if we see a giraffe in real life and we recall it from our memory, here's the thing, and we trust our memory, how do we know that giraffes hasn't changed since then as a species? Well, we don't expect them to change that fast because things in the world don't seem to move that fast, and perhaps we trust the theory of evolution that tells us how things evolve and that it takes a really long time, or we trust stories that come from that, from the evolution of things. So even if we've seen something in real life, there is always an element of trust unless we are there every single second verifying it remains the same. Is it the same? Is it the same? Has it changed? Oh, yeah, maybe not. I don't know. And that's always true. And, if you think about it, like, it goes way beyond giraffes. It goes way beyond giraffes because this sharing of stories and this trust of the experience we get from stories and informations, whether it is from others or from within our own self, from something we had in the past, it's a major way through which we humans create our sense of reality, both at an individual level and at a collective level as a culture. It's the way we create cultures, we create civilizations, we make things happen. It's the way we create technology. It's what led us to go into space. and many other wonderful things as well. So there is something really deep in that when we realize that what it really means to ask the question, how do we know what a giraffe really looks like? And we may think this has to do with more cultural elements that have to do with storytelling and narration and values, but actually, it even has to do with science. Because as a Nobel laureate, actually, Richard Feynman, he got a Nobel in physics. I think at some point he was asked what science is, but his reply was this specific phrase: science is the belief in the ignorance of the experts. So there are some experts, and there are things they know and the things they don't know, and we all believe like they know everything. And that's really important to realize that even there is this element of trust, this element of sharing stories and taking them as in certain way as truth. There is an element of belief in that. And it goes beyond that, right? Because in science, if you think about it, we have this way of proving things and creating facts about the world. The truth, however, is that it's very difficult to check everything. So I've studied as a physicist, and I did like my undergraduate, my master's, my PhD in black holes. And as I was going through this learning process, I have to tell you, there is so much knowledge that I simply couldn't prove everything myself. I really had to trust the system that was created, the idea that, and believe that, other people have really proved this correctly. And trust the people that were promoting these ideas to me, that these ideas were really scientific. So, because it was humanly impossible to prove all this at the duration of my own PhD studies, or even the duration of my own life, it wouldn't be enough, right? So even in science, and I had to take this, accept them, and create based on these things, create new science based on things I have accepted. And for me, when I realized that it was very profound. So this element of trust and accepting stories from others, or accepting stories from our past self and how we believe them, it's a core element of humanity. And it actually exists if you want to play along. Do you follow? Can you let me know, like, if so far it's like it's interesting, it's engaging? Please let me know by just like leaving a comment saying yes below or pressing a like. Okay. Because now what I'm going to do, I really want to check if you are following along with this. Because what I'm going to do is we're going to flip the script a bit. We started from giraffes, we went to trust, and how things we accept come through trust. And the matter of fact is that there are certain things we don't trust. There are certain things in our lives, or when it comes, when we think of systems of power and authority figures, there are sometimes we don't trust these things. There are sometimes we challenge them. We feel skeptical. We are like, okay, like, yeah, are they right? Are they wrong? And we start going down a different path of thought, right? And that's interesting because if you think about it, if you think about this polarity, like think about like what's one area in your life where you very easily accept things from other people, from whether they are people within your circle or other authority figures, perhaps teachers, perhaps someone in your community, and what are other areas in life from other aspects of society that when someone says something, we are like, I'm not sure about that, and we try to rationalize our counter arguments in our heads, right? Because when we do that, there are some other things we trust in a deeper level. So, what are the stories? What are the second-hand stories we have already accepted that make us trust one thing and not trust the other? And I have to tell you, the answer is not obvious. It's fine if you don't have an answer to this. But it's an interesting question to realize. How come we have these automatic responses that to certain things we say, yes, this is it, and to other things we are like, I don't know, and we try to find counter arguments. And both of these things are fine, and as long as we put them in a constructive dialogue, we can learn through the process. And that's what the process allows us to learn, actually. How come? Uncover this deeper layer. What truths we have already accepted that allows us to feel more attuned to one and not the other. And you can think this in different areas of your life, right? And it's not necessarily an answer that may come to you now, it may come to you later. But if you have an answer now, please let me know. Or if it comes later and you're like, yeah, I remember to go to this YouTube video and comment, which is highly unlikely, but if you do, let me know. I would love to know. I'm really curious at a personal level, okay? So even when there are deeper truths we have accepted that allow us to accept certain things as true and be skeptical about others, right? Because when it comes to giraffes, why do we accept giraffes will be the same as when we saw them, and why we don't accept that they haven't changed. We don't accept that they might have changed. They may have grown a third antenna on their head, or their antennas have grown and become like a butterflies, right? I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous. I'm just making a point here, okay? So this is the thing, and this speaks to a deeper level about how we humans, create culture, create ideas, share ideas from things that are on Earth, like giraffes, even ants, fire, painting, drawings, art, to things that are in the outer space, like black holes, galaxies, neutron stars, the whole universe, the multiverse, right? How do we believe that the multiverse exists? Like many people talk about the multiverse, for example, and we kind of accept it in a certain way. Why? We can go either way, but why we choose one way and not the other? So, going back to giraffes, with the awareness of all this, right? I'm curious for you. How does the question, how do we know what giraffes really look like, resonate differently from before? That's something to consider, and if something comes to your head, let me know, okay? Because that's the thing. As you start thinking of the giraffes right now, as you start considering what they really look like, I don't know what comes first to your mind, whether it is their long necks, the patterns on their body, or their long legs. Perhaps it's the elegant way they move. Or you become aware of other elements in the environment, like the tall grass, the wind, or you hear like how the grass moves, the sounds of the grass as they move along and as they gallop. And I don't know if you can even imagine how giraffes may sound like, or how it was the last time you may have seen one, or how you could imagine this could be for you. Because the thing is, there is certain context around which we think of giraffes. We think of noticing giraffes in real life. And this usually involves other animals, other environments, perhaps even other people sometimes. And I don't know what this may be for you, what other animals may be there, if there are other people, which people are these, what people they are, and how is the environment like? Is it like more natural, more wild, or is it more human like? The thing is, no matter what, this giraffe is there. And as you realize that the giraffe is there with its long neck, its spotted patterns, and you can allow the giraffe to turn and look at you as you look at it as well, you can now really wonder the question of how do we really know what a giraffe looks like? Because after all, this giraffe is not like other giraffes, and we may be able to tell the difference or we may not. So, to how much level of detail we go when we consider the question of how giraffes look like? How much do we simplify or generalize? And with the awareness of all this, it's interesting to consider, right? How many other areas of life these questions extend and apply to, and what new understandings and meanings can bring. Because after all, this is not just about giraffes. It's about the way we humans connect with the world, we experience the world, and we make reality happen. That's what fundamentally this is about. So, with all that, I'm curious, you know, when it comes to the awareness of this, what do you notice now? What's happening? Like, how do you have now giraffes in your head? Do you feel like visiting one, seeing one? Do you feel more motivated, or you want to go check in documentaries and in books? Go in Google and type giraffe. I'm curious. Like I think my memory actually eludes me if I've actually seen one in my own life. So I think I would like to visit a zoo soon and see one and satisfy my curiosity if it really looks like in the books and in the pictures and in some of these crazy images AI generates this day, right? Because that's another thing. If AI generates different images, how do we know that, what AI generates as giraffes is a giraffe in real life? Yeah. We need to check with reality. We need to remember to check with reality. Okay? So, with all that said, thank you. And if you follow that long, please uh, press a like or subscribe. Like either what feels most comfortable for you, because I really want to know, right? Because these videos are fundamentally about creating new meanings, helping each other, sharing ideas that allow us to expand our sense of reality and our awareness of the world. And I really enjoy doing them. I really do. So I want to know how they resonate with you, what they move inside you, and knowing that they resonate with you and they move something inside you is what motivates me to keep me going and keep doing them and continuing down along this path, along this mission. And the best way to show me that they brought something interesting, is to press the subscribe button or the like button and yeah, show me that, yeah, this means something. That's all for now. Thank you and see you at the next one. Bye.